Hey, what's going on, everybody? Got another video for you today, and this one is on the Brous Blades Bionic. Wanted to get this one up pretty quick. I got this knife on this past Saturday, which if you're watching the video now, whatever the date at the bottom says, just go back a few days and that's when I got it. Was pretty excited when I heard about this when it was first announced, and also just to kind of give you a agenda as far as this video, because I think sometimes I get off on a lot of tangents. I'm going to go over a little bit about the knife, my thoughts on it. I'm going to show it compared to a few other knives as for size comparisons, and I'll do a quick little basic cut test on some paper for you. So if you want to skip ahead to any of those sections and not watch the whole thing, that's fine. And then also I'm going to try and keep this right at 10 minutes. So if it gets to be 9 minutes and you hear me kind of quickly finish the video abruptly, that's just because I don't want to go on too long on this one. So this knife was first shown at Blade, I want to say, is when Jason first announced it. And it was announced also with the T4, which is the other model I did a video on recently. Pretty interesting knife. This is the packaging that it came in. This is like his custom packaging. I think he's changed it a little bit because this was the very first shipment. So now he has ones where I think it says Brous Blades on the actual tube. And when you open the tube, and he also put now a styrofoam piece in here, I think, to keep it a little bit more steady. So if you pop this open, inside is your card, or your certificate. And you can see this knife was born on the 1st of November, signed by Jason, number 358 of 1100. I believe it's 1100 total of all the different colors and variations. I don't think it's 1100 for each color or type. So this is one of 1100 total made. And then D2 steel, obviously, the Rockwell hardness, and all his info. Also, when he shipped it to me, it came with a bunch of stickers and swag and all that kind of stuff too. So that was nice. I'll get this out of the way. So the knife itself is pretty small. I'm going to put the specs in the description below. When I first saw the pictures of this, when he first announced it, and also even the kind of little demo he did of it on the videos on YouTube from Blade, I thought it was actually going to be bigger. Even though he said what the specs were, it is a very small knife. Just something to be aware of. Let me back this up a little bit, just so we can get a little bit more room here to work with. Give you some macro shots. So it's only about a 3-inch blade on here, satin finished. Once again, nice satin finish on the blade. The handles are aluminum, CNC machined to have this Bionic pattern. And then there are stainless steel liners inside. It's not just kind of a sub Linerlock there. If you look inside, you can see it actually is steel liners all the way through. Very cut out, you know. This is a super lightweight knife, so there's steel liners in here, but there's a lot of cutouts in them. You can see how skeletonized they are. A few cool features about this knife that maybe you didn't realize when you first saw it or saw pictures of it or any videos that are up already. It's really neat how he did the aluminum scales to overlap the liners here, but then had the liners show through on this back piece. I think that's a nice little contrast for the back of the knife. And then you have the two standoffs, and then the pivot here, and then you have jimping both on the aluminum scales and then on the blade itself. And this is really nice jimping. I believe if this jimping wasn't here on this knife, it would feel much less solid in the hand. Because of this jimping, you can see you have, and I have size on glove-wise, large to extra large size hands. So I can get my 4 fingers on here, but you can see the pinky isn't totally on there, but your thumb really locks in place. And the way that this flipper was made, as far as the front when it's open, works very well. It locks your forefinger in here, and then your thumb is right here, and you can see how my skin drags either way. It's in there. Now, I don't think it's too aggressive. I think some people might feel it's a little too toothy, and we'll get to that in a minute, more so in the flipping aspect than in your thumb here. I think it's really nice on your thumb. You feel it, and it's very similar to, or close to, the jimping that he did on the Silent Soldier flippers, where it's that micro jimping, not the exact same pattern, but that kind of feel to it, and a little bit toothier than that one. But I think it works really well to lock the knife in your hand. As far as holding positions, really this is the only position I think you're going to hold the knife in. You're not really going to do the full grip on this thing. It's a little too small. You can see, my finger almost wants to overlap and get into the blade there. Even if you hold it up a little bit more, you only have 3 fingers on it. So this is the main hold that you'll probably be doing on the blade. I mean, you can go this way and do some intricate cutting, obviously, and that's not a problem. But as far as the main way you hold it, if you have something here and you're slicing, even if you're going to do wide sweeps with it, this is probably the only grip. Even in the reverse grip, at least for me, I can hold it this way, but I think stabbing is the only thing you're going to do, because even if you come across here, there's a little too much space in the hand. It's going to wobble a little bit. Just some things to be aware of. Now, the flipping ability on this knife, it's an extra strong detent. So when you break the detent, it does fly out really nicely. I had to flip it a few times to break it in. I think because of how small these knives are and the strength of the detent, and that because the steel on this knife, the blade, is much thinner than most of Jason's knives that he does, the breaking on the detent does take quite a bit of force. Now, this is a knife where you do want to pull back on it, and you want to get the tip of your finger. I'll show you here. And I wouldn't even say the middle part of your finger. I'd say maybe a little to the right, so that when you pull back, you're almost pulling back and a little to the side. And you can see that thing pops right out. Reason for that: because of this jimping and how aggressive it is, you can push button this. And I'll show you that here. But it is going to rip up your pads of your fingers, because when you push button it, you're still kind of going a little back at an angle and you're dragging across here. And once again, because the blade is so thin, just to give you a comparison, here's the Boker, which is a little over the top, but you can see the difference as far as thickness. This is 0.19. I'm not sure what the thickness is on this. Like I said, I'll put it in the description. But because of that, you can see the thinness on the flipper. So you see how thick this flipper is versus how thin this flipper is. And even compared to the Silent Soldier, you can see the difference of the blades. Oh, we're at 8 minutes already. All right, I'll try to wrap this up, guys. That's just an idea there as far as thickness, so you can see. But what that does, just so you're aware, even though Jason's done a nice job rounding this and not making it super pointy, you can see how it is all rounded. It is small, and for me with a bigger finger, it does dig in if I push button this. And then when I come back, and you can see, I mean, that's just from flipping this knife the multiple times you've seen it just now. I haven't really been doing much flipping today of anything else. It does wear on your finger. So that's why you really need to, when you start using this, get used to just the pull back and away, and you'll be fine. The lockup, very early, almost too early for a knife this small, because of the thinness of the liner here. It is solid. It's not going to break, but one thing to be aware of is if you let go and then let it go back, it doesn't really kick over. Now, you can see I've pulled the blade all the way back. I'll show you really, because I don't want to get fingerprints on it, but I'm pulling it all the way back. So the lock bar, even when I have it all the way here, doesn't really slide over that much. And now I think, nope, it's still steady. But it is pretty light at that. So if you do a very light flip on it, I'll try to do that here. Nope, it's locked. But you let that go, you can see if I move it over and just let it go, I can break the lock that way. But as I just showed you previously, if you do get a decent flip on it, and even if you push it over and then pull this back a little bit, it locks up. Just be aware that if you do unlock it and let it back, it doesn't go over by itself. It really needs that force to then be locked. Yeah, so it's locked up there. Just things to be aware of. Price-wise, this is 159 bucks. Comes in multiple colors: pink, blue, black, orange, red. You can also get the full blackout version, which is blacked out hardware, blacked out aluminum, and then the blade is blacked out. And then I believe he's also doing an acid stonewashed blade on the blackout version too as an option. The blackout, I believe, is $189, and the blackout acid stonewash is $199. But really, it's a $159 knife if you look at as far as the price on it. It's a great way to get into Jason's knives. It's the least expensive knife he's put out. But once again, you're getting the aluminum scales in the colors, stainless steel liners. You're getting his bearing system. This is on bearings, and it is pretty smooth. You can see even with not a lot of weight to the blade, you can just drop it right in. This, I would say, is a great secondary knife to carry. I don't know if this can really be a primary, unless you're just, you know, office work, something like that. You just want to have a small, lightweight knife on you. I believe 3-inch knives you can have as primary knives, but because of the thinness of this, the lightweight, and obviously the one main handle grip, is more like a backup secondary EDC folding knife. So just so you can see the size-wise, there's that. There's the Silent Soldier. There's the Boker. And give you one other nice thin knife to compare it to. The CRKT Nerktai 2. And this might be the most comparable to it because of the thinness of the knife and the lightweightness of it. So I'll move these out of the way. You can see here, yeah, the Brous is a little thicker, even with the scales. Obviously this is stainless steel all the way through. This is stainless steel and aluminum. This is a little bit heavier than this, and the blade is a little bit longer. It gives you a nice look at it, just so you can see that. And we'll do a quick cut test with this too. I'll try to get it by 15 minutes. 5 minutes over what I wanted, but hopefully you guys got to see what you needed to see out of it. So paper, knife, nice push cut, no problem, do a little slicing with it. Yeah, I mean, it's sharp. Do a little pierce. So definitely a nice sharp blade on there, pretty much like most of Jason's knives. Nice satin finish on it. Once again, it's really, I believe, a way just to get in to try Jason's stuff and see how you like it. And just know that pretty much every knife after this one, like the T4 especially, or the Division flippers, however nice this one flips for you, those are going to flip about 5 times better. Not that this one doesn't flip that great, but this is a really nice flipping knife, but those other ones are just much easier to even flip, and you can flip them multiple ways. Push button, pull back, light switch, however you want to do it on those knives. Where this one, you probably can do most of those. Like I could even light switch this one, but you can see that, you know, it is going to wear on you pretty fast. But cool stuff. I'm glad this is in my collection. Glad I added another one. It is a nice, lightweight, simple slide in the pocket, slide in the secondary pocket. easy to disengage, sharp knife. So hopefully you got to see everything. Oh, one last thing. This is pretty cool. He put this filler tab on the knives. So the pocket clip is reversible, and it is a nice pocket clip. Has really good retention. Has a nice, look to it with his name on it, and you can reverse it right or left hand. But I love that he filled that in with that little tab. That's a nice little extra to go on a knife. And then the other thing too is the number of the blades. He always moves where the numbers are. Sometimes they're on the spine, sometimes they're in the liner, sometimes they're on the tang. So on this one it's on the tang, and you can see this is 358 of 1100. Alright, so thanks a lot, guys, and I'll get some more videos up. Have a great day, great night, great weekend, and I'll catch you later.